Hello, True Health Seeker, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Learn True Health podcast. I am thrilled to introduce you to today's guest. She is one of my holistic health heroes. I've spoken about her before in past episodes because her book, Guess What Came to Dinner, influenced my childhood. Back when I was about 13 years old, my mom brought home that book, and it played a role in how our family adapted new strategies for long-term health. Now, some settings got mixed up with the new edition of Skype, and the recording is a little bit off, so you'll just notice that on my end, it sounds just a little bit tinny or a little bit like AM radio. I apologize for that. I did the best job I could cleaning it up post-production. I just want to let you know that I strive to make the best quality audio for you, and past episodes and future episodes will be better than this one in terms of the audio quality. But the content, the information is still there and is still wonderful. She's a great guest, and she has over 30 years of experience, and she's written over 30 books. She loves helping people to regain their health, and she has so much great information. So I just can't wait for you to dive right into today's episode. Thank you so much for being a listener. Thank you so much for sharing this podcast with your friends and family. Please join our Facebook group. It's free. Go to Facebook and search Learn True Health. You are welcome in the group, and I love it when listeners ask questions and engage in conversations where we can all learn from each other on how to achieve even better health. Thank you so much for being a listener, and enjoy today's interview. Welcome to the Learn True Health podcast. I'm your host, Ashley James. This is episode 284. I am so excited for today's guest. Ann Louise Gittleman has a PhD in holistic nutrition, and she has published over 30 books. Today, she's here to change your life. And what she doesn't know is that back in, I believe it's 1993, she changed my life. I was a young teenager, and my mom brought home a book, Guess What Came to Dinner? And it helped transform the health of my family. So, Ann Louise, welcome to the show, and thank you for being one of the holistic health experts that has helped shape my life.
Oh, that's so sweet. Guess what came to dinner? I love that. Thank you so much for mentioning that. One of my favorite books, Guess What Came to Dinner? Parasites and Your Health.
Right, exactly. And it really opened my eyes. I loved that book. I know it seems weird to, as a 13-year-old to love a book about parasites, but I've been been so interested in health my whole life. And we got parasite tested. It turned out we had 3 different parasites. We did all natural cleanse. We followed all your instructions. Then we got retested, and we didn't have any more parasites. And that was something that sat in the back of my mind, this idea that people can walk around and can have so many ailments and not know what it is. They go to a traditional doctor, and they could be put on drug after drug for symptom management. And yet it was something that I think in ancient times they knew what to do. They knew to use holistic medicine to always do cleanses and detoxes and cleanse out parasites. And we even the last 100 years sort of have lost our way. And you are one of those experts who's going to bring us back to our roots and help us to use natural medicine to heal. I'm just so excited to have you here today.
That's so sweet. You know, it's kind of been my mission, Ashley, to find the underlying root causes of mystery diseases. So many of us have challenges, autoimmune conditions, problems that we can't solve. And I think the reality is the answer lies somewhere. We simply have to look and put a magnifying glass in the areas that are still dark, where there's no light. And that's what we have to do. We both have to shed light on those areas and give people hope and healing.
And you've been doing that for so many years. All of your books are wonderful. And your most recent book, which I believe you are actually pre-selling this book, Radical Metabolism, a powerful new plan to blast fat and ignite your energy in just 21 days. There's so many other programs out there that claim that they'll give you more energy and they'll give you weight loss. But I know based on your history and everything that you do, you look to get to the root cause and you look to help someone gain health holistically. So I know your book's going to be a lot different than all those kind of fad programs out there. I'd love for you to tell us what is different about this book and why, for those who have had problems with weight loss, should they go out and get your book?
Well, that's a good question. I would say that what makes this book stand out is the fact that we uncover what I like to call the new thyroid cure, Ashley. And what that basically means is that there is a sneaky glitch in your GI tract that may be disrupting the thyroid glands of millions of us out there that have a sluggish metabolism or have autoimmune issues. And what I discovered by accident is that people that have reduced bile flow, interestingly enough, are almost 10 times more likely to suffer from hypothyroidism, which slows down metabolism and is very important for keeping our immunity at a high pitch. So I'm trying to bring back bile and your gallbladder and the gallbladder function into the forefront, because what I've learned is that sluggish bile can slow your thyroid and that bile's impact in the thyroid is a true concern, since up to, I'd say, 85% of us over 40 suffer from insufficient or poor quality bile.
Interesting. And for those who don't know exactly what bile does, what does it do and why is it so important in maintaining thyroid health? Like where's the how does it have that relation?
Well, it's a high quality detergent, which is really what bile is. It's kind of the liquid dishwashing detergent that breaks down all of our dietary fats that we eat from every meal. And what we've learned is something very unusual, and that is that the dietary fats in our body supply us with raw materials that are very necessary to produce thyroid hormones that are activated. And when that fat is being stored in cells rather than being broken down by bile, the thyroid doesn't get the message and get the building blocks it needs, so that when bile is released, we can actually not only break down dietary fats, but it seems to trigger the increase in a production of a particular enzyme that converts T4, the inactive thyroid, into active thyroid hormone, which is T3. And since T3 is the body's main switch for firing up metabolism, it can then switch our bodies into fat burning mode. But even beyond that, what we have to learn is that bile is a very important detox method from the liver. And we have forgotten that. So many of us are exposed to toxins in the air, in the water, in the food. One of the ways that we detoxify is through the production of bile. Many of us have sluggish bile. We have bile that is clogged. So it's very important to restore optimal bile flow. And then that way our thyroids and our livers will be functioning the way they were designed to.
So the production of bile in the liver is what helps the liver to remove the toxins from the body and get it out of the body through the GI tract.
You betcha. And that's why it's important that you have the highest quality free flowing bile, not sticky, congested, gooey bile. You want it free flowing so that hormones don't get stuck in the bile, or heavy metals, or any kind of bacteria, or even parasites that like to make their home in the bile duct. So this is very important for whatever ails you. It's an important detox method. And if you don't have a gallbladder, and here's where the real kicker comes into play, you're not secreting bile adequately, and you're not being timed with a proper amount of bile to digest the fat that you may be partaking in, nor are you actively detoxifying the way you should or getting the benefit from oil-soluble vitamins, from vitamins A and E and D and K.
Now, how would someone know that they have a sluggish bile? Or they have a sluggish bile? Is it in the liver that it's sluggish, or is it sluggish in the gallbladder? And how would they know that it's sluggish?
Well, we can give you a little quiz. May I give you that quiz? It's a little 1 minute quiz.
Sure.
Okay, Ashley, if you feel bloated, especially after a fatty meal, you may have inadequate bile flow or suboptimal bile, which could be affecting your metabolism and overall health. If you feel dizzy, if you've got gray or light colored stools, if you have insomnia or middle of the night sleep disturbances, or if you have radiating leg pain, all of these could be signaling an issue with bile or your gallbladder. So there are many ways that you can elevate your bile flow. You can thin it out, and that's what the core of my book, Radical Metabolism, is all about. It will help your hormones, it will help your metabolism, allow you to lose weight, be good for your skin and your immune system. I don't think there's any gland, tissue, or cell that won't benefit in some way from radical metabolism.
Excellent. So your book isn't only for people who have stubborn fat that they've been having a problem getting rid of. Your book is for people who want to make sure that they have healthy bile, healthy detoxification, healthy thyroid. So it could be for people who don't necessarily don't have a lot of weight to lose, but want to achieve all those other health goals.
Yeah, it's really about health. The hook, of course, if you take a look at the book, it says Radical Metabolism, a powerful new plan to blast fat, reignite your energy. But quite frankly, this is for anybody out there that is facing toxic overload, and that happens to all of us as we're living and breathing on this wonderful planet of ours. And this will not only allow us to eat our way to a faster metabolism, but we're going to have better health all around. And I think that that's what really the key is. And so, with a better detox method, you're able to reduce the inflammation that could be at the underlying cause of some of your autoimmune illnesses. We've had wonderful results with people going on radical metabolism that have problems such as Hashimoto, for example. I have a gal that has been suffering from all kinds of pain for the past 25 years. She went on the program for 2 weeks and found that her pain had been removed. So we
Mm.
and this was very unexpected. And if somebody said to me, "What is it that's so pain relieving on your diet?" I'd have to say, well, we're getting your bile working properly, we're tuning up your thyroid, we're getting your detox methodology really primed up. And when you've got the right bile by eating the right foods and supplements, it's very lubricating for the intestinal tract. So you're eliminating much more rapidly and much more effectively and fully than if you had just fiber. So bile is going to be sexy again. It's so important. Bring bile back. Bile is brilliant, I say.
Now, if someone has sluggish bile and they just kept going on with their life, would that eventually cause gallbladder issues and maybe gallstones and maybe they'd need to have their gallbladder removed? Is that sort of is sluggish bile this early warning sign that they're going down that path?
Yes, because as we age, those everyday toxins are building up in your body. They're becoming trapped in our bile, and it makes that bile fluid very thick and sludgy. So that can very definitely lead to gallbladder stones. So a lot of people are getting their gallbladders out because they don't know any other way of decongesting and eliminating those stones. But my program has been known to help that a great, great deal.
Now, mentioned, so I understand bloating is one of the symptoms of sluggish bile. Can you explain why would sluggish bile cause dizziness?
Well, it's because you are not able to moderate the production of the bile when you're eating certain foods so that your blood sugar is not adequate. You know, one of the
Mm.
most potent blood sugar stabilizers that people don't recognize is fat. And if you're not metabolizing it or breaking it down adequately, it loses its blood sugar stabilizing value. So this is important for anybody eating a higher fat diet. It's the reason that people struggle on keto or paleo. They got all this fat that they're partaking in and they're not breaking it down.
Mm-hmm. Is that also why a sluggish bile would cause insomnia because insomnia is related to blood sugar issues?
That's one of the reasons. And also because you've got issues with the inability to metabolize or better assimilate your essential fatty acids. So without bile, you're losing the ability for your omega-3s or your omega-6s, the 7s and the 9s, to do their due diligence. And that's very important for cortisol levels, which are so part and parcel of the sleep cycle. So these indirect connections with bile are totally fascinating. And I think it's one of the reasons that people are getting such wonderful results that are quite unexpected with a program like Radical Metabolism.
Excellent. Why would it cause radiating leg pain?
It's because of the gallbladder meridian, quite honestly. And some people have all kinds of ear ringing, and it has to do with a clogged gallbladder meridian when the bile becomes congested.
Oh, interesting. So like a tinnitus in the ear?
That could be, it's not always, mind you, but it certainly could be an underlying root cause of that ear ringing that is so prevalent today.
Now, what about people who've had their gallbladder removed? What should they do then?
Well, we've got to make sure that they've got adequate bile, so we need some gallbladder support, just like people that have had their thyroids removed or their ovaries, their uterus. You need some kind of hormonal support. So we give you the proper bile salts with supplements or foods to get the bile promoted adequately so that you don't lose the ability to assimilate vitamin A, which is the anti-infection vitamin, vitamin D, the immune vitamin, vitamin K, so important for putting calcium in its place, or vitamin E, so important for your circulation. So we want to digest and assimilate your fats, number one. We want to make sure that everything is flowing adequately, number two. And we want to make sure that your bile is decongested because we are surrounded by estrogen sources and excess estrogen, which is
Mm-hmm.
prevalent, Ashley, in contraceptives to food additives. It has the ability to raise cholesterol levels in the bile, which makes that particular digestive fluid even thicker and more prone to becoming so much more congested. So there's an awful lot that goes into this bile solution, so to speak, but I like to call my program the new Thyroid Cure because I think that's a lot more relatable to so many women out there and men, by the way.
Right. I think we think thyroid is just a women's problem, but it's not. And not a lot of men know to go to their doctor when they have these symptoms or go to the right doctor. And I think a lot of people are running around in life with these symptoms, not knowing that this is the problem, that this is the root cause. Um, the new thyroid cure is focusing on supporting the liver and creating healthy bile. That's really, how
Yes.
did you come up, how did you discover that? How did you uncover that in all your many years of experience working in this field?
Well, that's a really good question, too. And I'm trying to remember when all that occurred to me. I think it was when I was reading a very conventional medical journal, and I remember seeing all kinds of notations about bile. And I recalled remembering somewhere back when that bile used to be a remedy. Bile salts were given as a remedy at the beginning of the 20th century, and we've simply forgotten about that. Nobody talks about it anymore. So I did a little investigation and I did a little bit more research and learned about all of the latest studies that have been done at Harvard as well as in European institutions like the researchers at the Tampere University Hospital in Finland, who made some wonderful connections between this holy alliance between the gallbladder and the thyroid. So I kind of connected the dots in an area where there was not very much information known about, but I am having so many of my clients suffering from thyroid issues. I figured there had to be another reason for this massive slowdown and near epidemic in our country today.
Interesting. And so after you uncovered that, did you start to like work with people and notice that when you helped them with their bile that their thyroid got healthier? How did you see this clinically?
They lost weight. So what happened with this, and this started about 4 years ago, I created a supplement because I wasn't able to find all of the nutrients that I felt could effectively thin the bile and make that bile flow adequately.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a supplement, talked about it with my clients, gave them the supplement almost on a trial basis, and then we did before and afters maybe 6 weeks later with their T3 and T4, and by God, their thyroid started to normalize. And that's when I realized I was onto something big, and that was the precursor, so to speak, to writing my book, Radical Metabolism. And my challenge, Ashley, was how to make bile attractive. I mean, it's not the kind of thing where you say bile is beautiful on the cover. You know what I'm
Right?
saying?
Right?
So we got very creative and we called the book Radical Metabolism, and then brought in some other rather innovative and creative ways of having people lose weight in addition to this bile thyroid cure.
Very interesting. And is this supplement available now?
Yes, do you want me to tell you the name of it?
Yes.
The name of that supplement is called Bile Builder, and it was a supplement that I put together again. It was about 4 years ago, and then we started to manufacture it, and it's out there now. And it contains the bile salts in the amounts that I felt research-wise were clinically proven. It also contains some beetroot powder and choline at 500 milligrams per dose if you take two of these 3 times a day, which has been known to defat and decongest a fatty liver, which is another hidden epidemic. So
Wow.
I put everything in there to have people get good results, and the results have been extraordinary. So this is an area that we need to clean up, that bile, that liver, that decongestion in the thyroid.
Very interesting. So after you created the supplement, then you discovered that some people with fatty liver no longer had fatty liver?
Well, no, no. What I did is I did more research in terms of the liver. I got so involved with bile, I then learned that the same nutrients that broke down fat were also found to be helpful with fatty liver. So that research had already been well respected. So I simply put the study back dosage of the choline in the bile builder.
Excellent. And have you had any feedback from people with fatty liver saying that it is making a difference?
You know, I've had a couple of people online who have talked about it, but if you look up Bile Builder, just take a look at all the testimonials. It's pretty extraordinary. There's not a supplement out there like it, and it certainly fills in a real gap when it comes to nutrition and metabolism and hormonal and autoimmune health.
Very cool. Well, that's really exciting, and especially, I think a lot of people who are running around with thyroid issues are looking to maybe go gluten free, heal the gut, take some iodine, right? But no one's ever said let's support the liver in creating healthy bile so we can detox healthfully and so we can break down these healthy fats to support the raw building blocks for your hormones quite like you have. So I think this is going to be really exciting for my listeners who have thyroid issues because a lot of them have reached out to me and say they have a Hashimoto's. Now you talked about having an extensive amount of experience helping people to no longer have immune conditions. For those who have Hashimoto's, what would you want them to do in addition to supporting their healthy bile?
Well, what I think is also going on is there could be some retroactive viruses. So, taking a very good antiviral to me is very important for those with Hashimoto. And of course, the other methodologies that you talked about, doing a gluten-free diet, which of course we know is healthy, maybe adding selenium to the diet at 200 to 400 mcgs, perking up and piping up and supporting your iodine would be also helpful. And I'm also seeing that individuals with Hashimoto's need a little bit more potassium and manganese. So I do a full mineral analysis to give them the whole bouquet of nutrients that they need to get their systems on track.
How much iodine do you think someone should take just for general health per day?
I'm a big believer in anywhere from 3 to 5 drops of a substance like Lugol solution in 8 ounces of water in a 2% Lugol solution. And I think that's important to get your thyroid functioning the way it needs to help with detoxification, protect against electromagnetic fields. And I also suggest that the iodine that can be used is a liquid like Lugol's, but I found another one that I know is radioactive free called Biodine.
Mm-hmm.
And if people want to email me, I can tell them where to get that, but that's what I personally use.
Very cool. What other supplements do you personally use that make a really big difference in maintaining your health?
Well, beyond, I take a little thyroid, I must admit. I take thyroid, and ever since I've been taking the Bile Builder, my T4 is now optimally healthy. My T3 and my TSH has come down. So I have all those values in the range that's optimally healthy. So it would be my Bile Builder number 1. Number 2, I take a very high dosage of omega-6, because another thing that we put a magnifying glass on in this book, Radical Metabolism, is the importance of a omega-6 and the ratio of, it's actually 4-to-1 in favor of omega-6 to omega-3, which nobody knows about. So I take a great deal of hemp seed oil, which I put on my salads, and a GLA substance like black currant seed oil is what I'm currently doing, as well as CLA. So omega-6 to the rescue for wonderfully strong cell membrane so you can protect against virus and bacteria and toxins getting into the cell. And this is the best thing for your skin, because when you start to lose weight on my Radical Metabolism, I don't want your skin to sag, bag, or drag. There's nothing worse than losing weight and somebody saying, I can tell you've lost a lot of weight, because everything is kind of sagging. We don't want that, especially at a certain age and stage of life. So that omega-6 keeps the skin very taut and very toned. And that's really what we want for people that are on the program.
Now, you're going to have to do some myth busting here because a lot of people say omega 6 is bad, it's pro inflammatory, it's high in corn. And so, when you feed corn to chickens and even fish, when they're the farmed fish, and to cattle, and then you eat those meats, you're high in omega-6, and it causes inflammation. It's very pro-inflammatory. We should stay away from all the vegetable oils because it's so pro-inflammatory, and we should really limit our omega-6 and get lots of omega-3. Omega-3 it's all about the omega-3. This is what we're hearing from everyone. So you're saying no, that's not the case. Can you do some myth busting and help us understand why?
Yeah, well, the whole book does myth busting. So well, I'll take that one on, because I was the first to write about the importance of essential fatty acids before anybody was writing about it. I wrote about it in 1988. So I know better than anyone, because I was on the front lines of low fat, no fat with my stint as the director of nutrition at the Pritikin Longevity Center. So here's the reality. Not all omega-6s are created equal. The
Mm.
factory produced, commercialized omega-6s are not healthy. So the corn oils are not healthy. Your soybean oils are not healthy. Canola oil is not healthy. But if you have an unaltered, unhindered, pure omega-6 in the form of the hemp seed oil, as well as safflower oil, pine nut oil, and sesame oil, you got the best oil nature could ever want you to provide you with. And it's very important because it is a cellular functionary essential fatty acid that makes the cellular membrane strong. So you just need to get your omega-6s from the right source. That's all that you need to do, and you'll see a great difference in your health. We've overdone omega-3s to the detriment of the good omega-6s. That's why GLA is so important. It's an omega-6, my dear.
Excellent. And could someone just eat hemp or eat sesame seeds to gain the benefits, or do they really need to get the oil in their life?
I think you should do both. I think you get a higher quantity of a more absorbable linoleic acid, which is the key here, vitamin F, from the oil itself. And we have seen dramatic results with people that use a clear, unprocessed hemp seed oil on their salad dressings. So I think that doing the oil, doing hemp seeds, walnuts are very high in omega-6, not omega-3. It's got a higher omega-6 assay, actually. The sesame oil, totally delicious. You can use that as well. So I think in terms of cooking and eating, what's really fun is to use a little bit of both. I have recipes in Radical Metabolism that make use of hemp seed hearts in your salads. We've got sesame seeds all over the place, a little toasted sesame seed oil with a little stir sauteing. So I say to mix it up.
Mm-hmm. Some are concerned that oils, once an oil hits air, that it begins to oxidize, and then we're consuming sort of free radicals or rancid oil. Is that a concern of yours, and how would we go about preventing that?
Well, because you're not cooking with those essential oils that are heat sensitive. You're using hemp seed oil not in a cooking form, but you're using it to drizzle it on your salad. You're using up the bottle in 3 weeks. In terms of toasted sesame oil, it has a higher how do we say this? A higher smoke rate of some of the other oils. It's very high in vitamin T, which gives it a lot of longevity. It's a vitamin that nobody has heard of either, but it's probably the food that the Turks used many years ago to be such fabulous fighters. There's something very strengthening and purifying with sesame oil, and very good for the blood platelets. So I would take offense at some of that. I mean, you've just got to be cautious. And you've got to use a little sense. But the reality is, when we do essential fatty acid testing, Ashley, and I test all the time, testing,
Mm-hmm.
I find when I test for the omegas, people have gotten the omega-3 message, but they're very deficient in omega-6s. So they're suffering from omega-6 related problems like eczema, like psoriasis, like joint pain, problems with PMS, perimenopause, and menopause.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So they can add, and how did you mention how much each day? Should it be like a teaspoon or a tablespoon of hemp seed oil or sesame seed oil should they add to their salad, for example?
I think it's 1 to 2 tablespoons.
Got it. 1 to 2 tablespoons a day of either or a mix of both.
In the book, we give you either or. And I also introduce another omega 6 that has magnificent healing properties. It's pine nut oil, which is known to heal the digestive tract from the mouth to your anus, so to speak. And if you've got anybody that has issues with ulcerative colitis, God forbid, or
Mm.
an irritated esophagus, this oil is one of the most soothing and one of the most healing that we have on the planet. Nobody knows about it, but I'm writing about it in this book. And it's because the omega 6 it contains is very similar to GLA, gamma linolenic acid, very healing for the cell membrane. So without the omega 6, we're missing out on that strong cell membrane, and we're not feeding our mitochondria. You'll see it all written out and laid out very clearly in Radical Metabolism.
Very cool. Now you mentioned vitamin T. I have to ask, what is vitamin T?
I don't know what it stands for, but it was known years ago as the vitamin that was helpful for immunity, gave people strength in terms of their ability to withstand stress and endurance. And it was also helpful in raising blood platelets. I see a lot of my clients with low blood platelets in this day and time. I give them some sesame seed oil, and within 3 weeks, their blood platelets come back to normal. So there's a quality in there which is very helpful.
Would that also help those who are on warfarin or Coumadin because they had a clotting issue?
I don't think it would hurt.
I've seen people, up their omegas and they were able to get off of warfarin or Coumadin, but I always wanted to know what was it about those omegas? Was it that the deficiency of omegas is so severe that it causes strokes and blood clots? And is
Well,
that
it certainly could be one of the reasons. There are many reasons in that regard, but
mhm.
this is so fundamental and foundational for health that we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't include more of the good omega 6s. And I give you brands, I give you amounts, I give you swaps, alternatives, recipes, etc. in Radical Metabolism, because I'm such a believer in the right fats for health and overall well-being.
What other things are in your book that you want people to know is the path that they need to also take in addition to making sure that they're getting enough healthy omega 6s, healthy fats? What else don't we know that we should be doing?
Well, of course, you'll see this all in the book, but one thing that's very important is that you have to realize that heavy metals can leach into your food when you're cooking in certain utensils. So I have a whole chapter on how to retool and detox your kitchen. I think it's very important that what you're eating is pure, certainly as wholesome as possible, but what you're cooking in is just as important, and we're not paying enough attention to that. So there's a whole chapter about cast iron, about nonstick pans that most of us are aware of what type of stainless steel to use, and how important it is to use a whole house water filtration system to make sure you're not getting in any heavy metals or pharmaceuticals or pesticides or parasites. So I give you a whole retooling and a detoxification to get radical in that kitchen of yours.
Very cool. I love it because again, you're showing people exactly what they need to do to shape their entire life for whole health. And at the end of the day, then they're going to have more energy and a better metabolism. Now, you talk about this new forgotten flavor that's going to help reboot our health, and that is bitter. I know we're kind of, as a society, we like sweets and we like, salty, savory, but I don't know a lot of people that go, I feel like bitter today. So, what is up with bitter? Why is it so healthy to find foods that are bitter to add to our diet?
Well, just remember, bitter is better. That's our new mantra. And it's definitely a taste, as you so rightly said, that's not part of our dinner plate anymore. Bitters are important because the taste of bitter, is very important to stimulate digestion. So it's important to have it because you get your digestive juices flowing, your HCl, your pepsin, your pancreatic enzymes. And it's also felt that it may increase the tone of your lower GI tract. So, what I talk about is the bitters you can use in your vegetables, your fruits, your herbs, and spices, and making your own digestive bitters as a little metabolizer, as a little mid morning, mid afternoon drink. So, I'm a big believer in bitters, and you'd be surprised that people do exceedingly well by just adding a little bit of dandelion root coffee. There's a good bitter for you, or arugula, a bitter green instead of kale. All of that is important to detoxify your system, to get the digestive juices flowing, and also to enable you to heal a leaky gut. So bitter is better, and bitter is something we have to put back on our dinner plates.
Uh, bitter. I was when I was pregnant a few years ago. I had the worst morning sickness. I don't know why they call it morning sickness. I had it 24 hours a day. And I was having lunch with the naturopath, and because obviously I'm not ordering alcohol, he went to the bartender and ordered a drink for me. And he said, he said, this is safe. And I drank it, and it made all the nausea go away. It made me feel so much better. I felt human again for a few hours. I said, what was in that? And he said a lot of well-stocked bars will have a bitters, a little tonic that's a bunch of bitter herbs, and he had them put it in some soda water with a splash of orange, and it tastes amazing. I actually really loved that bitter flavor, but it completely resolved my nausea and it helped my digestion. And so I ended up having to go to the grocery store and find, go to the health food store, grocery store, find all these different Swedish bitters and try them all out at home, like make these little, virgin cocktails. And I really fell in love with the taste of bitters and bitter herbs for aiding digestion while I was pregnant. So I really felt immediately a relief. I thought that was really interesting.
Well, it's very interesting. So you're restoring your gallbladder, you're restoring your digestive tract, you're helping your digestion. So there's a real beauty to bitters, don't you think? And we have to bring them back into our diets. We shouldn't wait till we're pregnant and have any kind of morning sickness or nauseousness. I mean, people will get nauseous and have this type of response just by being on overload if they have high liver enzymes. So going to a bar or going to your grocery store and getting some brilliant bitters, I think, is one of the reasons that this book is going to be popular. I mean, I think people, when they're ordering a cocktail, should get used to Angostura bitters, which is a popular addition to many cocktails in this day and time.
Absolutely. And they don't need to have any alcohol in it. They could just have some soda and bitters and a little bit splash of a citrus fruit if they wish. And oh, it tastes wonderful. Excellent.
Yeah, well, these things are good digestive tonics, and they're also very antibacterial. So you're hitting two birds with one bitter.
Very cool. Could you tell us some? So we've already talked about some symptoms, more obvious symptoms, but what are some not so obvious symptoms that someone may have that makes you want to educate them and show them that they really need to incorporate what you teach in this book. So let's say someone who has a toxic overload or has, the sluggish metabolism, but they don't realize that they have it. So could you maybe describe um, what kind of person really should read your book?
I think anybody that has a lot of belly fat needs to read the book. Anybody that has chronic fatigue needs to read the book. Anybody that feels that they're aging rapidly needs to read the book. Anybody that feels that they want to ward off insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes or elevated blood pressure has to read the book. People with food allergies or intolerances, people that have a history of heartburn, maybe constipation or even small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, people that have pain and inflammation which is unresolved, people that have headaches or migraines, hair loss, skin problems, fatigue, problems detoxifying. I think this book is an idea whose time has come for a lot of people that have not found answers elsewhere.
Very cool. Now, your book, you told me before we hit record that you have, because it's in pre-sale, you have three gifts that you want to give to the listeners for purchasing your book. Can you tell us a little bit about that and where they can go to get it?
Yes, thank you for asking. It is radicalmetabolism.com. We will give you three wonderful gifts. One of them is 25 recipes to get you started right now on the Radical Metabolism Road to Health. The other is a special report on crushing cravings. And the third is retooling your kitchen, what to do to get your kitchen in a detox mode ready for September slimming. And we'll also be giving you, before you check out and pre-order the book, a 30% off coupon on a very special coffee, which I'm featuring in the book. That's the centerpiece of my Energy Blaster first thing in the morning.
I want to talk about coffee because I think it's a little, well, I don't want to say controversial, but some people believe it's unhealthy. And so, one week there's a report that it causes cancer. The next week there's a report that it has amazing anti-aging properties. And so, is it going to kill us or is it going to heal us? What's up with coffee? I'd love to hear your reason why coffee is healthy. And of course, it has to, obviously, I believe that not all coffee is created equal because of farming practices and how companies handle it and process it. So I'd love to know why your specific, this brand that you like, why is it so restorative and healthy? And also, what is in coffee that is healthy?
Well, number one, full disclosure, have never been a coffee drinker, but I couldn't ignore all the research that suggested that certain types of coffee that were organically grown without mold had very high amounts of antioxidant, almost higher than blueberries. I think, in fact, higher than blueberries. And cranberries, another signature berry of mine on my programs. So what I learned is that there is a particular kind of substance called chlorogenic acid, which is in fact coffee's secret weapon. And this is a particular type of element which tells the body to take fatty acids out of the fat cells and burn them for energy or fuel. So we find that people that drink coffee have a wonderful result in terms of weight loss. So the science has shown that that compound can actually increase your fat burn by up to 50%, and not just blasting off fat is what coffee does, but it's good for cholesterol, for the liver, for aches and pains, for the risk of stroke, as well as brain fog. So it's a really good source of healthy polyphenols, which I write about in my book. And if you don't want regular coffee, this particular brand is coming out with a decaf type of coffee very soon. It's the Purity brand, by the way.
Excellent. And do you think the main reasons why coffee's been unhealthy is how it's farmed or what comes with it, like the pesticides and the mold, and versus, you know, I mean, because some people say that coffee is unhealthy. Do you think it's more that what comes on it rather than the actual bean itself?
I haven't quite figured that out because I have stayed away from coffee in my writing and for years before discovering how helpful it was for weight loss. So I'm going to say that if you get the best beans that are grown in the highest altitude with extreme temperatures, you got the highest amount of these polyphenols, antioxidants. And you want to make sure that you have a medium roast, want to make sure it's organic, high in the antioxidants, and definitely mold free. So I think that it may be what it doesn't contain rather than what it does contain may be what makes this so outstanding. But I know that in the testing that was done with this particular brand that I write about, it's been shown to have at least 10 times more antioxidants than top brands on the market, and they tested 49 other brands. So there's a lot to be said for this, and there's a whole mound of research about all of the health effects for not just effortless weight loss that people can get from coffee. So we have it in our energy blaster first thing in the morning, and it allows people to lose weight. We put in a little, let's see, what's in my energy blaster? I put in some coconut milk. I put in some whey protein for protein. I put in some citrus seed powder, so citrus peel powder, where we take the peel, or you can buy it actually on Amazon, where you take the peel of the lemon or the grapefruit that's organic. Of course, you got the highest source of bioavailable vitamin C. So we get you really healthfully stoked up in the morning with your morning joe.
What does the lemon peel powder do? Does that act like a bitter?
Yeah, bitter, yes, but the high amount of vitamin C, most bioavailable source of vitamin C, so you're getting the bioflavonoids and the vitamin C, and you need both of those so it revs up your glutathione. You see, what I'm seeing in so many other programs that just give you certain kinds of coffee with a little butter or coconut oil in the morning, that's all they're giving you in the morning. That's not good enough. You need high amounts of vitamin C to withstand the stresses of all the toxins that we have to fight off from the morning till the night.
And also, if someone's consuming fat in their coffee, like a bulletproof coffee or like your coffee, a little bit of fat in it, we would want to stimulate the liver to get that healthy bile flow going so that it can do its job, right?
Right, so that's where the citrus peel powder comes into play. That's where you're getting your whey protein, which are the contain the precursor amino acids for glutathione for the liver. So it's all about loving your liver. I do that breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Your book could have been called Loving Your Liver.
Yeah, yeah, it's a radical book to love your liver. Why
Yeah.
not?
Now, in your book, you have different radical rules that you lay out in part one, and one of them is building your muscles. Can you talk a little bit about that and why it's so important?
Well, it's important because one of your most effective fat burning tissues is actually muscle. So you've got to rebuild your muscles, and some people start to lose muscle strength as they age. And interestingly enough, one of the foods, we're circling back to this, that allows you to do that is none other than coffee. Would you believe that some of the Korean researchers found that adults who drink coffee on a daily basis have an over 50% lower risk of muscle loss? So it's that substance that's so magical, that beneficial uh, antioxidant is the reason that you can start to regenerate muscle tissue as well.
Oh, very interesting. And do you have a guide or some advice for how we could build muscle? Because I think those with a a lower metabolism. So we have maybe some fat to lose. We've got sluggish. We now have discovered after hearing you, we have a sluggish bile and possibly a little bit sluggish thyroid because we have a sluggish bile and all. It all kind of connects. Um, but when it comes to getting into the gym and pumping iron, a lot of us, especially if we have a low metabolism and low energy, we're not really motivated. We have to be very conservative with our energy and
Sure,
deliberate.
sure, sure,
So,
sure, sure.
yeah, what should we focus on doing to support building that healthy muscle?
Well, in addition to preserving the calorie burning lean muscle mass through the chlorogenic acid, which is contained in the coffee, which is another reason to drink it. And even if you have to go half and half with dandelion root you can do that half and half with coffee and dandelion root, then I'm going to suggest that you do something very gradual for muscle training and muscle building. You don't have to get involved with a real strong weightlifting program, but I like the program called Super Slow, which is very regimented, supported, super slow movements back and forth to really enhance muscle tissue development. It's personally what I have done for the past 5 years. I take 15 minutes out of my day 2 to 3 times a week, and it has gotten me very lean and mean in my old age.
Excellent. And could you tell us, out of all the testimonials that you've read that have come in about your book, can you share one that has moved you, that has really inspired you and just shocked you at sort of the difference that your program has made?
I would say, aside from the tremendous, I would say, detoxification and weight loss people get because we have a 4-day cleanse, but it was this very overweight gal that is actually the wife of my very dear chiropractor. And she's a lovely lady, but she's had quite a lot of weight to lose over the years. And I said to her, could you please try this out for me, because I need somebody that may want to lose, up to 50 pounds, which she has always, confided in me. And I wonder how this will do for her. Well, she's now lost 30 pounds, but most importantly, after a very short period of time, she lost all of her pain. She had very, very
Mm.
painful, and she was getting cortisone shots for the pain.
Mm.
She said, I don't know what it is in your program, and quite frankly, I don't know that magic bullet. I have a feeling it's the omega-6. She said, I lost all of my pain, and it hasn't returned. And she said that's been the biggest blessing, even though she's lost weight and certainly dropped 2 or 3 dress sizes.
Oh, that's wonderful, because so many people are suffering with chronic pain and they don't know why. And unfortunately, allopathic medicine only has band-aids and does not look to the root cause. Um, and you're looking to help us all holistically. You have so much experience around parasites. Could you talk a little bit about parasites for those who maybe have never heard an episode or an interview about parasites and don't really know that it's an issue? Can you tell us just a little bit about why we should learn more about parasites and do a regular cleanse? Should we do a yearly cleanse or a quarterly cleanse to make sure that we're detoxing to know not only toxins, but we're detoxing potential parasites?
Yes, I'm a big believer that you have to do a biannual parasite cleanse. We're all eating out in record numbers. People are enjoying sushi, very exotic cuisines. We love our pets. We've got issues with our daycare centers. The food can be contaminated. I mean, every day you're reading about a new cyclospora epidemic in the produce. You've got issues with all kinds of things that we never had problems with before because our immune systems have gotten weak with all the antibiotics and
Mm.
medications that we've had experience with in our systems. So I think a twice a year cleanse, we get the protozoa out, which are the little amoeba, the Giardia, Cyclospora, the Cryptosporidium, Blastocystis hominis, and then some of us are carrying around larger parasites from ascaris to tapeworms. And many times when you're very, very thin or very, very overweight, it goes both ways. You may be carrying one or more uninvited guests. So that's another type of cleanse that you can do when you alternate what we do with radical metabolism.
Now, I know the list is long. Can you list some of the more common side effect or sorry, common symptoms that people may have uh, that would lead them to go, uh-oh, I better do a parasite cleanse now?
I would say that a lot of these symptoms mask other diseases. We see a lot of chronic fatigue that is actually parasitic, fibromyalgia, which is parasitic, problems with migraines, depression, inability to sleep, problems with skin, inability to reduce blood sugar, blood pressure, problems with hearing, problems with constipation, diarrhea, intermittent constipation, and diarrhea. There's a whole host of symptoms that people can really manifest. But I think what's important is not getting tested, which can be incredibly inadequate in this day and age, but simply doing a parasite cleanse. And the product, of course, I developed something because there was nothing on the market I felt really comfortable with. but that, like the Bile Builder, seems to be exceedingly helpful in terms of getting rid of whatever you could be harboring. And sometimes people see these little creatures come out. They see tapeworms, they see strings, they see mucus, they see little seeds in the stool. So it's better out than in, and seeing is believing. We do a parasite cleanse in addition to what you're doing on radical metabolism, and the fall is a great time to do this. Just like spring, it's a detox time. Get a few colonics, maybe a coffee enema. It's another way to use coffee, by the way. And voila, you're good to go.
Now, coffee enemas, do you instruct people in the book how to do them? Because I know there's definitely a wrong way to do them.
I don't know if we cover it in this book, but certainly when people join my Radical Metabolism group as part of what we offer at the radicalmetabolism.com website, they get exclusive access to that. I can certainly guide them in terms of what to do step by step.
Excellent. Yeah, let's talk about that now. Is that different from the Inner Circle? I know you have a program called the Ann Louise Inner Circle.
Inner Circle is a private paid for membership. This is absolutely free. It's a support system for radical metabolism.
Oh, excellent. So when they buy your book, is it a Facebook group? How do they get into the support group?
They will receive an invitation, a special invitation, and then we'll be welcoming them with open arms.
Okay, excellent. So when they buy your book from radicalmetabolism.com, then they'll be given those 3 gifts plus the 30% off for the coffee that you really recommend, and then they'll be sent an invite to come join this free support group for those who have bought the book, so they can all learn from you and learn from each other as they go through this process.
Yes, and we'll probably start a radical metabolism cleanse. We'll do a group challenge cleanse starting September 10th.
Oh, that sounds fun. It's so great when people can get together to do it together, because we can all learn from each other and support each other as we go through it, and then we don't feel so crazy or so alone when things come up, right? When these symptoms come up as we go through a cleanse, and sometimes even emotions come up as we go through a cleanse. Have you seen that when someone starts working on their liver, that not only are they like getting this bile moving, but that sometimes because a sluggish liver can also hold resentment and anger. Isn't that correct?
Especially the gallbladder. The gallbladder is resentment, the liver is anger. Absolutely. And we say let it out better than keep it in. So we love it when people get emotional when they're doing one of these cleanses. And I think that it's very helpful for individuals that want to make sure that their hormones are really firing at optimum value and optimum level, that they consider the Bile Builder, getting their bile really tuned up, and that they do these biannual other cleanses, which we will then walk people through on radical metabolism.
Got it. And just to reiterate, those who don't have a gallbladder sometimes think, well, I don't have a gallbladder, so I don't have sluggish bile. That's not the case, because the bile is made in the liver and it could be sluggish up in the liver. And so regardless of whether you have a gallbladder or not, you still want to do the same steps to support healthy bile flow, right?
Well, we want you to take a supplement. That's where Bile Builder comes into play. And
Mm-hmm.
then people can lose the weight, get the energy back that they've missed, and then they'll be absorbing their vitamins A, D, E, and K.
Excellent. Now, in addition to, of course, buying your book and going through your program, what actionable steps could you tell the listener to do today to begin their health journey?
So, to begin their health journey, pick up a little bit of hemp seed oil and start loving hemp seed and see the results that you get on your skin. People will say that you've got a little glow, that you've got a facelift, and as a matter of fact. You'll see that as you lose weight, there'll be no sagging, bagging, or dragging. I think that the hemp seed oil would be number one. Number two, get your 30% off coupon of this wonderful coffee and see the difference it makes in your health. There's no acidity, there's a wonderful mild flavor. You'll be getting antioxidants that'll help you go to the bathroom. It's a wonderful detoxification element, very, very high in niacin, so it's very good for your heart. And then number three, if they go on my site, annlouise.com, then they'll be able to get all of my blogs, which give them further insight into radical metabolism. And I think we're giving away 10 steps to a radical metabolism that'll give them even more tips to get them started on their healing and healthy path.
Very cool. Now, normally I start an interview asking the guest to tell us a bit about them and their bio and paint that picture of their past that led them to become the healer they are today. But for this interview, I just jumped right in because I was so excited. Because I, like I said, I've known your work since I was about 13 years old, and so it's you are one of my heroes when it comes to all the holistic health experts out there. But for those who aren't familiar with you, can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you discovered or how you became so passionate about this? What happened in your life that led you to become so passionate that led you to write these books, all 30 of your amazing books?
Well, let me think. I think it really started as a young girl. I was named after my paternal grandmother, Anna, who died at the age of 42 of a mysterious illness. And I
Hmm.
just grew up knowing about Anna, this glorious, charming, beautiful woman. Nobody knew why she died. And it was after a trip to the mountains, my father would say, the Catskills to be exact. She came back and couldn't stop shaking. And she died, at a very young age, even back then. So I vowed, even as a young girl, to find what that underlying cause of disease was. I even thought as a kid, well, they just didn't find the right answer. There was a reason she was feeling that way, and they just didn't know where to look. So I've made it my business to look at areas where there's currently no light and shed a spotlight in the dark.
Do you feel you found the answer?
I'm on the way, I'm on the path, and I want to bring everybody with me.
Excellent. But I mean, in terms of what you think she suffered from, do you think that you've come across what it was?
I don't know. I used to think it could be Lyme, and then I went to Parkinson's. I knew that she had a shaking disorder that happened right after she went to the mountains. So something precipitated that, whether it was a viral issue, whether it was a tick bite. I'll never quite know, but she certainly propelled my interest in my quest for health and healing.
That's wonderful that her life, that her legacy was to inspire you, and now you have helped countless people. I mean, it might be, it's probably in the millions of people. Obviously, you're a bestseller, but you bring holistic health to such a place that it's so actionable, so easy, right? Something that can be so shrouded in mystery and complex. You just bring so much clarity to it. And so thank you so much for what you do. I don't know what my family would have done if we hadn't found your book. I mean, my life would have been totally different growing up with several parasite infections, and our parasite infections were from visiting Mexico and from having cats. And so, how many people out there have cats and dogs and have parasites living in their body, robbing them of energy and nutrition, and also causing toxins in the body and causing symptoms unknowingly. And I'm just
I know, I
right,
know.
right. And I
Oh
hope
my gosh.
that listeners not only pick up your latest book, Radical Metabolism, but also pick up Guess What Came to Dinner, because it's a fantastic book. And you did a new you redid it, didn't you? More recently.
2004, so that is more recent.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Or maybe it was 2001. The years go by quickly. The books just I forget sometimes. I think it was around 2001. The first book came out in the early 1990s, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken.
Yep.
And then I think we came out with something in 2001. Yeah, and it's still been this cult bestseller, and it's helped so many people. And it's something we still need to be aware of, as aware today as I was years ago. And so I think this will help people immensely, especially if you travel a great deal, if you camp out a great deal, if you have animals, if you have pets. I think this is very essential.
Now, your website is annlouise.com. Of course, everything that you do, including radicalmetabolism.com, all the links are going to be in the show notes of today's podcast at learntruehealth.com. Tell us a bit about your inner circle. Who would benefit from joining your inner circle? I see it's very affordable. What would they get out of it, and why should they join it?
They get all of my secrets, which I don't usually divulge. They get all of the secrets that I've learned over the years from some of my teachers, my real healing teachers, those that I consider masters. So I teach them about prism water. I teach them about the colors of healing. I teach them about remedies, what to look for when you do a blood test, how to become your own nutritionist, how to save the lives of those around you. So it's 40 plus years of accumulated research, experience, knowledge, and passion. And we have a lot of fun. I also have the ability to interview some of my friends in the field, whether that will be upcoming interviews with Dietrich Klinghardt, as well as Dr. Steven Sinatra. So all these people are my personal friends. They come on in a very informal way. We get to ask questions, and it's invaluable and a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so cool. Dr. Klinghardt is in my backyard. I live about 10 minutes away from his Sophia Health Institute here, and I've had him on the show. And I just think that's so cool. It's a really tight-knit community. It's a small community of real healers, of the true healers. I'm just noticing that everyone seems to know each other.
We do. We're old friends.
Oh, that's so cool. Very cool. Well, excellent. And so those who want to learn your secrets and to gain better health should join your inner circle. I'll make sure the link to that is in the show notes as well. Is there anything else on your website people should know about? Do you work with people one-on-one? If someone wanted to contact you, what other services do you offer that people should know about?
I would say that inner circle is really one of the most important ways to kind of gain this inside track of knowledge. I also work with people one-on-one, but I'm slowing that down because I'm getting so busy with interviews and podcasts, such as this wonderful podcast. So I can't devote as much time. But I do see people that really have no other way to look, to check, and I have access to special DNA decoders that can help you on a genetic level determine what's really going on in your system. So lots of things happening.
Very cool. Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything that you would like to say to impart on the listener to wrap up today's show?
No, I think you've covered it. I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to be introduced to your wonderful audience. I think that we can all find unusual ways of detoxifying our system, eating for better metabolism, getting better health in general, and warding off all these autoimmune challenges that seem to be plaguing us in this day and age.
Thank you. And I'm very excited for those who are suffering to find you and hopefully find all the answers that they're looking for to gain true health. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Please come back on the show anytime you need a soapbox or you have something to share, to teach, to promote. I'd love to have you back.
What a sweetheart. I will take you up on that offer.
Hello, true health seeker. Have you ever thought about becoming a health coach? Do you love learning about nutrition and how we can shift our lifestyle and our diet so that we can gain optimal health and happiness and longevity? Do you love helping your friends and family to solve their health problems and to figure out what they can do to eat healthier? Are you interested in becoming someone who can grow their own business, support people in their success? Do you love helping people? You might be the perfect candidate to become a health coach. I highly recommend checking out the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I just spent the last year in their health coaching certification program, and it really blew me away. It was so amazing. I learned over 100 dietary theories. I learned all about nutrition, but from a standpoint of how we can help people to shift their life and shift their lifestyle to gain true holistic health. I definitely recommend you check them out. You can Google Institute for Integrative Nutrition or IIN and give them a call, or you can go to learntruehealth.com/coach and you can receive a free module of their training to check it out and see if it's something that you'd be interested in. Be sure to mention my name, Ashley James, and the Learn True Health podcast, because I made a deal with them that they will give you the best price possible. I highly recommend checking it out. It really changed my life to be in their program, and I'm such a big advocate that I wanted to spread this information. We need more health coaches. In fact, health coaching is the largest growing career right now in the health field. So many health coaches are getting in and helping people because you can work in chiropractic offices, doctors' offices, you can work in hospitals, you can work online through Skype and help people around the world. You can become an author, you can go into the school system and help your local schools shift their programs to help children be healthier. You can go into senior centers and help them to shift their diet and lifestyle to best support them in their success and their health goals. There's so many different available options for you when you become a certified health coach. So check out IIN, check out the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Mention my name, get the best deal. Give them a call and they'll give you lots of free information and help you to see if this is the right move for you. Classes are starting soon. The next round of classes are starting at the end of the month. So you're going to want to call them now and check it out. And if you know anyone in your life who would be an amazing coach, please tell them about it. Being a health coach is so rewarding and you get to help so many people. Are you going to optimize your health? Are you looking to get the best supplements at the lowest price? For high quality supplements and to talk to someone about what supplements are best for you, go to takeyoursupplements.com and one of our fantastic true health coaches will help you pick out the right supplements for you that are the highest quality and the best price. That's takeyoursupplements.com. takeyoursupplements.com. That's takeyoursupplements.com. Be sure to ask about free shipping and our awesome referral program.